The men and machines of the MTRA soar to greater heights. But a defiant breed of new challengers is looking to bring the Kings of the Hill back down to earth. Coming up next, we'll see who gets crowned in Lima, Ohio. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. Today we come to you from the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee. There is a sea of change for all you monster truck fans. In addition to new trucks and new drivers, well, the best and the biggest name in the business is ushering in a brand new era. And here with more on that story is my sidekick, Army Armstrong.
You're exactly right, Gary, and as any kind of motorsport, change is the norm, and that's exactly what's happening now. A lot of new blood coming in the sport. We've got new drivers, we've got new trucks, but some of the old guard is getting moved around too. Now, earlier in the day, I had a chance to talk to the old master himself, Bob Chandler, the Bigfoot fame, to find out why he's making some of the moves that he's making right now. It's almost like a chess game. This is what he had to say.
Well, we want to keep racing, monster truck racing, going ahead. And Bigfoot organization, we've actually taken Jim Kramer out of driving a couple of years ago. He's in management. Andy Brass right now is our top driver. He won the series last year. We moved him into an RD truck, Wildfoot we're calling it. And that's the newest Bigfoot vehicle, Bigfoot race team vehicle. And we've brought Gene Patterson, who has been driving Bigfoot's trucks in the past, moved him up to the second position. He's driving Bigfoot this year. So we're making changes just to see what's going to happen. It's a test. The new truck here is a test. We're going to see how it works out. So far, it's been good, but we're always making changes, Army. It's part of our game.
And a master of the game is Bob Chandler. It appears that the moves that Bob was talking about appear to be working out quite nicely. In qualifying, Andy Brass down the R&D Wildfoot truck was the quick qualifier with a pass of 5.45. Now his teammate, Gene Patterson in Bigfoot, was second quick with his pass at 5.56. And there's a look at Andy Brass's Wildfoot truck. And Paul Schaefer in the Monster Patrol is one of those new drivers that we were telling you about at the top of the show. He was taking on a familiar face we haven't seen on TNN for a while, Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. Now we're going to show you some round one action, and Gary shows this newcomer he hasn't lost a step.
Well, both Chevrolets left the line side by side, but Gary Porter's experience and time in the seat paid dividends as he showed the newcomer. It's going to take a little bit more than what he's got to go to the next round of eliminations, Gary.
And Army, the last time we saw Mark Hall, he was in USA 1. Now he's campaigning a truck called the Executioner. And here in round one, he takes on Kirk Dabney. Pushes Dabney right to the limit.
Dabney's experience showed on the starting line, but Hall on the other end of the track became a real big player here as he literally pushed Dabney agree for Dabney to go into that next round. Hall will be around before this year's over, Gary Lee.
Among the sea of changes we alluded to earlier, there is a new driver in the snakebite camp. A newcomer named Rick Rattler now wears the mask, and Army talked to him about it.
Well, Gary, in the past, when you saw this insignia and a man with the hood, you knew that Colt Cobra was in town with the snakebite truck. The snakebite truck is going to be here today. The hood's going to be here today. You might even see this, but there is a new driver, Rick Rattler. Rick, what are you doing in this truck?
Well, Colt's in the research and development, Army, and I'm here to prove a point. Colt knows that I can drive this truck just as good as he can, or maybe even a little better. And I'm here to rattle a few cages, and that's why they call me Rick Rattler.
Oh, I love that. The camp we call the snake bite. In round one action, Rattler in the near lane taking on Scott Stevens.
Rattler's snake-like reflexes got him off the start line first, but Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas / Indianapolis, Indiana, mile an hour him on the other end, Gary.
And a member of the old guard, Wayne Smozanik, taking on veteran David Morris, and as has been his custom, another wild ride for Wayne Smozanik.
Well, Smozanik literally got in the catch fence down in Naples, Florida. They've been trying to get the chassis ironed out. As you can tell, it is not back together 100%. As a matter of fact, on this run, the rear end kicked around on him, and if he had been on his toes, he'd have been in trouble, Gary.
Continuing on now with more round one action, Fred Schaefer, who qualified 8th, had to take on Gene Patterson. Remember, Gene now is in Bigfoot. He qualified number 2. Normally, this is a matchup you might see in the finals, but here, Fred goes home early.
No love lost. Ford versus Dodge. Look at this. Two bad boys going at each other. The boy in blue will be coming back in the next round, though. The red Dodge, he goes on the trailer, Gary.
Round 2 action coming up when we come back to Lima, Ohio. Welcome back to the Allen County Fairgrounds here in Lima, Ohio, as Ford Trucks present the PENDA 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Racing Series. Hi, everybody. Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong. And looking at those round 1 highlights, you may have noticed a dramatic change in the track layout. Gone are the second set of cars. They've been replaced with a dirt ramp, and earlier Army talked to some of the competitors.
What they're doing, they're just experimenting with us. Last year, you know, cars would go away and you might fly through there a little bit crooked one way or another, and it was endangering us and the vehicles and spectators. So we're trying to make it a lot safer. We're taking steps. George Carpenter with the Special Events Promotion Company is doing a lot for us.
A lot of guys are feeling intimidated by it. I kind of like the new track. I think the truck will do well on it, and I really think the truck will hold up well.
Do you think that this is going to eliminate the possibility of, in the past, of having a good lane and a bad lane? All the lanes will stay the same now that that second jump is going to be consistent?
Well, there'll always be a good lane and a bad lane. Regardless, there's no way you can build 2 lanes identical, but this should make them a whole lot closer.
Well, there's a look at that ramp right there as we now take a look at second round matchups as Wildfoot going against Nightmare, King Crunch against the Carolina Crusher, and Equalizer against Bigfoot. The fast loser will come back for the semi-round. So great weather, a great crowd on hand, and we have some great competition here in Lima, Ohio, as we take a look at Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. Now, Gary has been away for a while. We've seen Gary Wiggins in this truck, but right now Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, is back in the cockpit of the Carolina Crusher, and he likes these outdoor tracks. Here's a guy that goes well outdoors, King Crunch, the Auto Value King Crunch truck out of Texas. This is Scott Stevens.
Both of these drivers, Gary, are involved in multi-truck teams right now. That's why we haven't seen Porter. He's been doing some research and development out of North Carolina. Stevens on the far side, he's trying to put another truck together. Earlier in the show, Bob Chandler talked about another truck. Does that tell you something? Chevrolet going up against the GMC, and Porter drilled Stevens on that starting line, Gary.
Yeah, he won that
we got
at
a
the
problem
Christmas
here.
tree.
Stevens is in trouble down here, Gary.
He has broken the rear suspension, perhaps wiped out the brake line. He does get a woe, yes, before he collects that fence down there. Ho, that'll make you stop breathing for a moment.
I don't know what happened. He cleared the first set of jumps. One thing about the ramps, we were talking to the drivers earlier, they do get a lot of air. Let's watch Stevens when he comes over the ramp, see how much air he does get. And when he hits hard. He hits a ton on the rear end of that truck. That's when something let go, and I believe it wiped the brake lines out at that point in time.
Right there, you can see something fly off the back of the truck, and he is trying to get this very heavy truck woed before he catches that fence down there as they assess the damage. And Army is standing by to talk with the crew chief, Rob Grossman.
Well, Gary, right now I've got the crew chief from the King Crunch crew with us. We're going to try to find out, as you're looking at some of the action, exactly what happened. Looks like a tremendous amount of impact. You've bent both bottom 4 link bars.
Yeah, we're not sure what caused it, but we know that we're not going to be able to get it back for the next round. And I mean, we got 4 link bars bent, drive shaft fell out, brake rotors bent, got into the crankshaft on the, bent the oil pan. We got quite a bit of damage to work with.
But Scott's okay.
Scott's fine.
Thanks a lot.
Well, there is a look at Bigfoot with a new driver in the cockpit. We say new. He's certainly not new to the Bigfoot organization. Gene Patterson has been around for a lot of years, but he takes over the truck that has had so much success with Andy Brass in the cockpit, because Brass moves on to the new Wildfoot truck, and going up against Bigfoot will be David Morris out of Tennessee, the Equalizer, one of the older trucks on the circuit. They just keep bringing this thing back year after year, and it's very competitive.
Yeah, and it keeps going faster and faster year after year. It's really amazing. With Gary Cook and this young Morris boy done out of Tennessee on a real low budget. The other side of the track, the computer guys, Bob Chandler and his crew, and everybody, like Bob said earlier, are going forward. This sport is going forward. These 2 trucks are perfect examples. But when the light goes green, somebody's got to go to the other end. It'll be a Ford this time, Gary.
That'll be Gene Patterson in Bigfoot number 10. that computer-designed tube-frame race truck out of St. Louis.
You know, Patterson's an interesting story. He came into the sport actually crewing with the Bigfoot team, and Bob Chandler works his guys through an apprenticeship. They'll start at a certain level and then work to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And Patterson now has worked his way up to be the #2 driver on this team. That's about as American a dream as you can have come true for you right there.
Well, these guys can work on these trucks as well as drive these trucks as part of that apprenticeship that you talk about.
Exactly. That's why they make them do it.
Good-looking new paint job. It's Wildfoot. Don't kid yourself. This is part of the Bigfoot organization. There's a man that's been so successful in monster truck competition. Andy Brass out of St. Louis, Missouri, has won everything there is to win in this type of competition. Now, this is earlier, round 1 against Don Van Loo. Don drives the Magnum Force pickup, and it was all Andy Brass.
Van Loo had some electrical problems, but believe me, Andy Brass had him covered from the starting line, Gary. Now, that was first round. Now we're rolling over to the next round.
Out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Kirk Dabney drives the Nightmare. He was victorious over the Executioner in round 1, and so he pulls alongside Wildfoot.
Dabney's a guy that I call a kamikaze pilot. Man, he will pull a trigger on you in a heartbeat. Look at that. He's pushing that new Wildfoot. Oh, there goes
He's
Dabney
upside
over.
down. He actually rolls it on over, doesn't make it all the way over. He was in trouble midway through this run.
And did not lift. He knew he was in trouble, but he was still going after the jugular vein.
Well, that GTS fiberglass body really takes a beat. And look at this. Here comes Kirk. He's all right. Kirk Dabney is climbing out. A lot of fiberglass damage, but perhaps the truck not damaged as much as it may appear from the grandstand.
No, the chassis held up. You know, that's why they build these things by the rule book. All right, breathe a sigh of relief, Gary. He's going to come out of this thing okay.
And the fans are happy to see him climb away, and I think you're down in a position now where perhaps you can get a word with Kirk Dabney.
Well, Gary, real quick, things are kind of acting down here on the other end. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, Army, I'm fine.
What caused the truck to bounce like it?
Well, it looks like front steering linkage let go on the impact after the second jump. It's a little early to tell, but that's what the best guess is right now.
Okay, well, I understand the EMTs want to get a look at you, get over there. Thanks a lot for coming over. Man, we're sorry about the bad luck.
Hey, we'll be back, guys. Thank you very much.
We will catch our breath, clear the track, and come back with more from Lima, Ohio.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Lima, Ohio. This was the scene during our break as Kirk Dabney surveyed the damage on Nightmare following this altercation. Watch him in the right lane. He is in trouble, Army, almost from the beginning.
Well, in no man's land, the truck gets a little out of shape right there. Now when he lands, something lets go in the front, and man, he high sides immediately. Boy, I am so glad they build these trucks strong, Gary.
That was one hard shot that he took, but he is okay. Now the wreckage is being cleared off the track, and we are getting ready for semifinal action. Gene Patterson in Bigfoot in the far lane. Earlier, Army talked to Gene about stepping into the shoes of Andy Brass.
I'm here to do one thing. You know, I've been off this circuit for a couple years now, and Chandler put me behind the wheel of Bigfoot 10, and it was a champ last year, and I'm going to do everything I can to put that Ford team in #1 spot.
And he pulls alongside the Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter.
And just as intense as Patterson is putting Ford #1, Porter with the Carolina Crusher, he wants those Chevrolet people to have something to cheer about. This is the old, you know, there's a lot of old rivalry starting to come around. The longer this sport goes, look at here. Look at this kid out of North Carolina, but Foot comes back.
What's wrong with the Carolina Crusher? Something at the very end of that run. He had the foot covered, and something mechanically happened to Gary Porter.
I think it was something happened. The engine just cut clean. Look at the leave on him. Boy, the Chevrolet's out. Patterson knows he's in trouble, but right here, the engine just burps for a second, and that allows Patterson to pick up that mile an hour and fly past him.
Well, he will go to the finals, and he's standing by with Army.
Well, Gary, in racing, a lot of times they say it's better to be lucky than to be good. Yeah. Gene Patterson is talking with a crew chief here. Gene, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think he had you.
Yeah, he did, Army. You know, I could see him out of the corner of my eye all the way. You know, we shifted her into high gear, and we let the Ford power take over for us. Seems like the Firestone tires hooked up for us down our end, and I think we passed him up on the finish line down there. That's all it takes in this racing game. You know, there's a winner and loser in every round, and all these boys out here running this weekend are winners. As long as we can keep going one more round, make Ford happy, Trailmaster, BDS, we're rolling.
Well, coming up next, the equalizer with David Morris out of Tennessee, and he pulls alongside Wildfoot. And Andy Brass.
Andy Brass is tickled to death to be driving this truck. There's not a lot of pressure on him. He's already proven he's one of the premier drivers in the sport. He's going up against this kid out of Tennessee, been around a long time. But Brass likes the idea of being involved in a research and development truck. He likes to experiment. He likes to try something new. And believe me, you can just tell by looking at this truck, the way the suspension sits, it's different from the get-go, just sitting on the start line. Look at that, look at this.
Wheel stand.
Whoa!
Oh, he hit that second ramp with the rear tires. That's not the configuration you want to go over that jump. Oh,
Wow. Man,
I tell you what, that was driving skill that brought that truck back. Now watch. Watch the wheel stand in no man's land, and watch him hit that second ramp with the rear end.
on the throttle, see, he making so much power, he just pulls a wheelie all the way over. That was neat, Gary Lee.
I don't know how neat that was from the cockpit. Here's Andy.
Andy Brass, it's final time, but in the semifinals, you took a run. I've seen a lot. I've never seen anything like that. What went through your mind on that run?
Well, the only thing I could think of right there when she pulled the wheels, I was like, well, if I let out of it, you know, I knew Equalizer was going to run a good time. I had to more or less stay in it. And I knew if we run her up the hill, she was probably going to nose over after the hill. And we just, when she started to come down, we just tried to stay back in and keep the front wheels pulling and hope she pulled us back down on the ground, and that's what it did.
A veteran driver talking about how he averts disaster, the championship coming up, and I can tell you the winner will come from St. Louis. It'll be Wildfoot against Bigfoot. Welcome back as we take a look at a beautiful piece in the show and shine area at the Allen County Fairgrounds here in Lima, Ohio, where Ford trucks present the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals, part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. These Jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family. To find out more, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. The side-by-side championship shootout coming up next. Two trucks from St. Louis, Missouri are the Bigfoot fleet. There is Wildfoot, the latest development of Bob Chandler. Andy Brass on board. He'll go up against the truck he used to drive, Bigfoot 10, now being driven by Gene Patterson. And before this run, Army Armstrong had a chance to talk to both competitors.
Gary, Gene Patterson, the man that took Andy Brass's seat, is going against Andy Brass in the final. How do you prepare for it, Gene?
Hey, same thing says on my helmet, no fear. You know, got to Ford Bigfoot in the finals. That's what we set out to do here in the first race this season. PENDA, you know, we're happy to be here. It don't matter who's in that lane. We got two Fords in the finals, and that means a lot to us.
It's going to be a good race, that's what I can say. You know, Gene's been with us for a while. He's been doing a lot of racing. He's a good driver. You know, Gene's been out here. He's run the truck. He stepped into a good truck. You know, we run the championship with it last year, so he's got a real good piece of equipment. We come out here with the Wildfoot truck. It's the same thing basically as his, only a little bit new equipment on it. We're trying to do some research and development, and I think the truck's been proving itself. So, you know, you're going to have two trucks that's almost identical, and two guys that's been at it for a while, so you're going to see some good racing when it comes to finals.
This should be interesting.
And it will be interesting, and I'm going to tell you something to look for. Nobody's going to roll over on this one. Both of these guys, if for no other reason, get bragging rights. You talked about the Bigfoot fleet a moment ago. This is going to be the Bigfoot flying circus at the end of this track. I'll guarantee you these guys are going to air these mountain motor Fords out big time.
Well, what does Andy Brass do for an encore after that last semifinal wheel stand?
Go across the finish line first. That's all he can do.
And it looks like he will do that by, only a nose, if that much.
Wow, what a race.
Wildfoot with Andy Brass by about that much over the Bigfoot truck number 10 of Gene Patterson.
Patterson is doing a fine job in that truck. Like he says, no fear. That's the name of this game.
Bigfoot, the far lane, Wildfoot, the near lane, side by side right here, and it's still fender to fender, and Andy noses over, but takes the victory. Let's go trackside, Army.
There's no worse. Congratulations, bud. Great run.
Thank you.
Well, real quick, I'm going to hang on to both of you guys while I got you here. Jim Kramer, you left the driver's seat. This kid kind of came up, took your place. Then you go to the head of the research and development. He follows you, and you're both winners. Is it something in the blood or what?
Hey, I tell you what, Andy's been great. You know, Andy worked with me for years, and he's probably the best driver we got in the organization right now. And he's come along. It's great to get to be able to work with him. I got a lot of ideas. I know a lot of guys back in the shop have a lot of good ideas, and it's great to have a guy like him come out and test them for us.
How do you feel about going out there and testing the unknown? Any other driver, any other truck would not have pulled through that wheelie that you took today. That's showing your research and development program is working.
Well, what I have to say there is a lot for the suspension. You know, we're working with Trailmaster there, and the Ford Wildfoot's been doing pretty good. You know, like I say, we worked with Trailmaster. The suspension worked out good. I think a lot of it, that had to do, you know, we come down on the nose. The truck did handle pretty good. I stepped on it a little bit, brought it back down, and we didn't spend our time bouncing. It settled down and laid down back, and we could control it. So I have to say a lot for that, you know.
Army, there's one thing here. One thing to say about that, riding that wheelie, it takes a lot of heart to do that. You know, he's got it right here where it counts. He didn't give up, and that's what I like about him.
A lot of heart and a lot of talent and a lot of championships.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect between those two people. They are definitely a credit to the sport. What's the first thing he does? Goes over and congratulates Patterson. That's the caliber and individual they are.
And our congratulations to Andy Brass. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Hi, this is Army Armstrong. Diamond P Sports has a special combo offer for you folks who watch Trucks and Tractor Power. You buy Shake, Battle, and Roll 1 and 2, we're going to save you $5, plus we're going to send you one of the authentic Diamond P crew hats. Take a look at these videos. It's unleashed horsepower times 2 when you call 1-800-366-8989 as a world of monster trucks, mud racing, and truck and tractor pulling slam through your living room. This is the aerobatics of the flying monster truck, the grime of the 3-second mud racers, and the unbelievable power of the truck and tractor pulling. You get all the thunder and fury of both videos, plus save $5 and get a free Diamond P hat. Just call 1-800-366-8989 or send check or money order for $34.90 plus $6 shipping and handling to the address shown on your screen. 1-800-366-8989.
Want to walk away with a free Diamond P hat? Well, now you can do just that when you buy And They Walked Away 3. Diamond P's latest helmet-hammering, bone-jarring thrill ride featuring motorsport's most perilous moments. By calling 1-800-257-9191, you get the free Diamond P hat and 70 minutes of heart-stopping action. Stock cars tangle and tumble on the oval high banks. Drag racers experience terrifying infernos. Sprint cars dance too close and pay the consequences. Mud racers, monster trucks, and motorcycles explode in awesome displays of man and metal turn to mayhem. And in each breathtaking incident, the driver beats the odds. To get your copy of And They Walked Away 3 plus a free Diamond P hat, call 1-800-257-9191 for credit card orders, or send check or money order for $24.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-257-9191.